Hello and welcome to my world. I'm Audrey. Audrey's world is a place where I welcome daydreaming. I want to hear what's going through your head when your heads are in the clouds. What are you thinking about? I'm so curious. I want to know. Tell me everything. What's your ideal state? Are we hovering around on little jets in cars, or do we have mandatory naps every day from 11 to 12? I don't know. These are some things that people have brought up, and I think it's pretty cool. So that's where the daydreamers are at these days. And I love exploring that and hearing it all about you. So if you're into those things, you're in the right place. And welcome, babes. Welcome. Today's episode is really special for me because you all are meeting my cousin, Shereen. But growing up, we didn't have a ton of time overlapping or hanging out and spending a ton of time together. So this was great just to reconnect with her as adults, really dig into things a little bit more, because when we have seen each other at family functions, we're a part of this huge family where there's so many people to see, so many people to talk to catch up with, who want your attention, who want to learn more. So the conversations aren't too long. And there's just too much to talk about in that short period of time. So this was a great opportunity just to reconnect, dive into things, hear more about what's going on with her now. And it was a great catch up. And that's why I love what I do. I love doing this because it's just a little catch up. When's the last time you really got a one-on-one with someone? Unless you're living with them, unless it's a family member that you talk to all the time or something. Even then, there's so many distractions where it's just me and my guest, and we get to really go into things, maybe share memories, laugh, giggle, daydream, all of the things. And it is just so fun to do. So that's Audrey's world in a nutshell. Okay, I'll just cut right to the chase and welcome our guest to the episode. She's a true creative and artist, a spiritual gal, Ohio native, and one of my many cousins. It's Shereen Jenkins.
Are we in business?
Hi, how are you?
I'm chilling. How are you?
It's
This is so cool. You look
Thanks. Yeah. I love it's so fun for me to do this because I just get to catch up with people who I haven't got to talk to in a while. And when's the last time you could really catch up with someone one-on-one? I feel like it's so rare. So
Well, I think it's cool too because this is beyond it's not your stereotypical phone call, right? Which is super intimate. I think that this brings a different demeanor and a different cadence to conversations and the depth that you're able to access. It's formal, right? This is as if me and you were sitting in person and you were in a chair across from me, and it's super cute, and we're just
yeah.
shooting the shit a little bit.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is super cool. Also, congratulations on just the whole setup of the podcast and doing your thing with that. It's so cool to see the consistency behind that. It means to me that you've reached this point in your life where you're just kind of ready to go after what you feel is right for yourself and to share with the world. And I think that's such a special place to be. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's
For
been
sure.
a lot of fun. And I made the commitment to myself, we'll just do it weekly for 6 months and we'll go from there. If it sucks, if I hate it, it's that. But if it's
No.
good and I still like it, we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of
How
just
are you
keeping
feeling
that
about
promise for myself.
For sure. And how has it been? Where are we at within that 6 month period right now? Is this month 4, 5?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're at month 4. I think 15 episodes, 16 episodes, so right around there. And yeah,
Okay.
so far it's just been so fun. I will say the scheduling part of it has been the hardest, and I
Yeah.
knew that would probably be a struggle. Or sometimes people are really nervous and they don't want to come on. They're like, "I love you," but I'm
Yeah, I
just too
can't do
nervous to do
it.
it.
No, I totally
So
get that.
that too, I'm sometimes the most outgoing people or the most extroverted are the ones who do that, and it's the most
Yeah.
surprising. So,
Yeah, I mean, things change, right? When there's a camera, everything starts to change. The way you're viewing yourself, how you're talking, how do I sound right now? How do I look right? It's a whole it's a whole reflective, like introspective journey, I think, a little bit. But okay, so
For
you're
sure.
almost at that 6 month mark. Are we thinking we're gonna renew the 6 months and see how it goes after a year then?
I don't know. That's a good point. I haven't really set my sights on what's after 6 months. Like, is it 3 months? Is it,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. So I don't know. We'll see.
You're
Stay
doing
tuned.
well. No, you're doing well though. I mean, shoot, if you just keep showing up every day with no expectation of the time frame on it, who knows? It might be 10 years later and we're still doing the damn thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true. How was your morning? What have you gotten into so
Uh,
far?
well, I'm actually my partner's here with me. She's dog sitting, but they have a beautiful house, a beautiful pool. So we woke up early, had coffee by the pool, and then I took a quick dip. So the hair's, you know what I'm
Nice.
saying? She had to get a little cute there.
Yeah.
I'm still getting my morning started, if I'm being honest. Typically, my Sunday mornings are very very calm pace. I like to get into a nice rhythm. I haven't eaten yet, but I have my super greens here, you know.
Oh,
So yeah, I mean Sundays for me are just kind of the introduction to like how good the week is about to be. So if I capitalize on my Sundays and I get my vision straight and my body feels good, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the recharge day for me. So I'm feeling
for
good so
sure.
far. Yeah, how's your Sunday?
Well, I love how seriously you take your recharge days. I feel like
Oh
I
yeah.
need to do more of that. I feel like I do prioritize like getting up and going for a walk every morning. That's kind of my like intentional reset every day, or just kind of clearing my mind, getting out in the sunlight, all of that.
Sure.
But wow, I feel like I could make these Sundays maybe a little bit more intentional
Well,
too.
no, I've been trying to make every single day intentional. I think that's been a huge shift for me over the past couple of years, specifically like taking yourself more seriously, right? Where I think we're at these ages now, it's like, what do you really want out of life? And are we anywhere near that? And if we're not, what are the changes that I need to make on a day to day basis with myself that get me closer to whatever that overarching thing is, right? And we can have the vision,
Mm-hmm.
but if our discipline is not intact, or if what we're doing every day does not align or get us closer to whatever these things are, you know, it calls for some serious, like, let me take a step back. Like, damn, maybe I'm not living my life how I want. Maybe I don't feel my best every day. And what's contributing to those factors? So I think for me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm so serious about it, but like it's so important to me to capitalize on what I know I need every single day, or at least setting the time aside to discover what I need in order to feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm really optimizing not only myself but my life, and like I'm giving back to the world in a way that makes me feel full. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a midlife crisis, but I think it's so important to be reflective, you know, and the earlier we can do that, the better. So that way, when we look back, when we're like 40 years old, we're like, no, I did make the most of my life. I didn't waste it. And I'm really happy I did spend the time to get to know myself in these ways, because look at where we're at now. So when it comes to my
Yeah.
Sundays or my Mondays or my Tuesdays, I don't play around with them anymore. I used to, but when I used to, that's when I felt the most lost or the most out of touch, or like, you know what I mean? So it's all about just
Yeah.
honing in with myself, because the more we do that, the more we can give to others the same grace, the same amount of peace, the same level of awareness that we give to ourselves. So yeah, I think
For
that's
sure.
why I do take it seriously. You know what I mean? Because it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You make such a good point too. I noticed over the last few years, like I have the power in every choice I make, no matter how small or big. Like, am I going to scroll for 15 minutes, or am I going to get
Yeah.
outside for those 15 minutes instead?
Sure.
Even those smaller things, it's being intentional, it's being aware of what you're doing, and you have the control to not only like make those actions and make those changes, but like change your mindset with it too. And it really is so impactful. And like once I started really paying attention to those little decisions I was making every day, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I'm not spending my time like I want to.
Yeah. No.
Or, oh
Definitely.
wow, maybe this is why I don't feel like I want to. So it's
Yeah. No.
huge.
I think the podcast for you is. How old are you?
I just turned 30.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So a super reflective point in time, right? Because like
Yeah.
how often do we reach a new decade? It's every 10 years. That's like an amalgamation of the past 10 years. Am I happy with those 10 years? And what do I want my next 10 years to look like? And wow, that 10 years went so fast. You know what I mean? I think that this
Yeah.
podcast could even be just a snippet of like you're becoming more of who you want. It's more fulfilling. Like this is something I feel like I want to go into my next season with. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's a huge deal. I'm 29 now, so I'm coming up, birthdays in February, and it's something I've been thinking about since I was 6. Like, wow, 30 is around the corner, right? But now she's knocking, and wow, time goes so fast. Like, what can I do to
Yeah.
make sure that like I don't look back at my life and I'm just like sad, because I think that's where we hit our
Yeah.
midlife crisis points, is when we don't take the time out, and then life just keeps going and don't stop for anybody, and then we're just like, well, shit, I'm so disappointed, and now I'm freaking out because all I've been doing is working this job, and I don't even really like
Yeah.
it. So it is that point where you start asking very important and intentional questions, to your point, for sure.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, turning 30, I was so excited. I definitely at one point, I think it was 29 November to maybe like that February timeframe, I had a pit and I was like, "Oh shit, like I'm maybe not where I thought I was going to
Yeah.
be or, like any of that before turning 30." But then something switched in around the March timeframe. I was just like, oh my God, the countdown's here. Like, I cannot wait till I'm 30.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but I've been so excited. I love it here. I think your 20s, at least for me, were pretty messy. And I think that's how they're supposed to be. But it was so nice to be like, great, I learned all of that and I don't know, like ready for whatever's next. But I know I needed that time, but I was
Well,
so
when you
excited to get it over with, to be honest.
Sure, and I'm imagining it wasn't just like you woke up one day and you were like, "Yeah, I'm so excited." Like, what was that process for you like? It's kind of like people are like, "What was that one moment that you knew?" And it's just like this one moment took years in the making. I just didn't realize it was
Yeah.
happening. Do you feel like for yourself that's kind of what it was like when you were getting closer to 30? It was like maybe one day it landed a little bit easier, and then from there it was progressional. But like, do you feel like for a good amount of time, at least in your mid 20s, it was maybe a little bit, like you were saying, chaotic, and you just had no fucking idea? Like, did you have a point like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think like I always wanted to move to Chicago. So moving to Chicago in my when I was like 25, I think that helped to maybe like, okay, I can do those things. I can make those changes. I can be where I want to be, like that sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's just as you're saying too, so many other things in life were moving at different like stages or I had different realization. Things came up again and I was like, "Oh, wait, I don't have to look at it through that lens." And I think it was all those small things kind of building up over those last maybe 5 years in particular, too, that I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Like, lessons are learned. We're figuring it out. Like,
Yeah.
giving myself grace for that and actually allowing myself to, like, be human and I don't know, figure it out. But then as I think I started approaching 30, I was like, it just is what it is. And not having that, removing that pressure, I think, too, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways for me is what really helped.
No, I definitely agree. The grace, like I don't have to have it all figured out. I think that's that's such like a key part to life as a whole, like giving ourselves the opportunity to not know the answers, and even though we don't know the answers, we're still kind of going to push forward anyways, cuz if we always waited for the answers, would we ever make anything of ourselves? Would we ever make progress? And I really don't think we would. And I think now, in the day and age of social media and tech, when you're constantly putting yourself out there, and I kind of think about it like opening an old photo album every single day. If you could open up a photo
Mm,
album of when you were like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever, maybe when you were your most stupid, right? Or like the
yeah.
worst times of your life, right? But now you can look at it every single day. I always think about how much this must make people get stuck inside themselves and not have grace anymore,
Mm,
because now, rather than like, naturally the brain forgets things and we let go of stuff we don't need and we leave space for newness to come in. I think now it's a lot harder to let newness come in, right? Because we're constantly stuffing down the same stuff every single day, or we're looking at our old selves every single day. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
man, we need, to the point, like, we need to have the grace to just, let things go. But the process of allowing, I think, it's a different journey for everybody. That allowance goes into
Yeah.
like so many different facets of like, why don't I allow myself? What is it about myself that I'm feeling shame about, or like that I'm still holding on to these really tough times, or maybe I need to go to therapy type of time. Like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I just think the idea of letting go, while it's more accessible now, it's harder and harder, in my opinion, for people to do that when there's constant intake, right? It's kind of like at some point, if you eat too much, you're going to throw up, and everyone keeps eating
Yeah.
too much, whether mentally, emotionally, and we're not letting it go, right? Because we're kind of getting
Mhm.
ahead of ourselves in what the process or the time of the process, what that really takes and what that really entails. So I can totally resonate with that. I
Yeah.
think that's a big part of like maybe my inactivity over the past, I think, decade, after being on platforms for like 15 years. You don't realize that as a kid, right? But as an adult, when you start to take time, you're like almost sick from how much you kept. It's like
Mhm.
you're constantly like this until you stop, and you wonder why you're exhausted,
Yeah.
right? And I think that is also a part of just like the allowance. Like, you need to allow yourself to just stop sometimes. You need to allow yourself to maybe keep going forward sometimes. You need to allow yourself to be forgiven sometimes. It's just like
Mhm.
it's so many things that I think go into that. But yeah, to the
Yeah.
point of being 30, I think it's a great time to then start reflecting on all of those things, and the process it really took to get there, and just having grace for like how hard shit has to be sometimes in order for you to get over the hump.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I guess I'm curious. So you mentioned how social media especially, it's like that kind of constant photo album of your past, of what you've been through, like all of that, and you can get really stuck in that. I guess I'm also over here thinking like it I think a lot of younger folks today have this like image of themselves that they want to stay consistent, that they want to portray, and almost like a brand. Like we very much know that term. We associate ourselves sometimes with like brands or like the vibe, the energy that you want to put out, which I don't think is a bad thing. But I think,
Yeah.
as you're saying too, it can be so hard to change that image, change that brand, because that's what we're fed is like great, especially because everyone gets so rewarded for being online and like being authentic, being vulnerable. So, yeah, I think it can be really hard to change because you have this image in your head that you don't maybe want to let go or
No,
are like
definitely.
nervous of.
Definitely. It's an ongoing thing. I think I've been thinking about a lot. I think we're in a beautiful time where you can now be the personal brand. It's great, right? Because you're just being yourself. It's an
Mhm.
amazing thing. I do think though, on the flip side of that, people don't take into consideration that we don't even have a lot of data on these things, right? But like carrying your phone,
Yeah.
and you're now the brand. You're on all the time. Like, how do we create the balance between I'm the business, and the business is always in my pocket and always on my side. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I think that that's when you start getting into, maybe, I hope you've done a lot of work on yourself, because you're going to have boundaries, strong boundaries. You're going to have a strong enough sense of self to not allow this projected sense of self to become what happens when you try
Mhm.
to put the phone down, and now you're still thinking about the sense of self that you put on here. Like, that balance for me is a very fascinating place of just like, I've thought about it so much, right? Because I feel like that's something that I didn't have balance with. But like, I think about kids a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're growing up and we're 2 years old and we're already
Yeah.
watching iPads, and 3, 4, 5, I'm like, are our
Mhm.
brains even getting the chance to learn how to have a separate identity outside of work,
Yeah.
more or less, right? Like, it used to be where you would have to leave your house and then go to work, and then when you leave work you get to go home, and there's nothing that's correlating to work, right? But now social
Mhm.
media has become the new 9 to 5 for a lot of people, and we're still kind of figuring out the regulations on that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
maybe there needs to be some
Yeah.
regulations I don't know, and I think that that also ties into a conversation of mental health as well, and probably why so many people struggle with it, right? Because this box
Hmm.
that we're speaking into has now become who we are, and we don't get the chance to be outside of what like is projected, right? But we're so much
Yeah.
bigger than that. But I kind of worry for the fact that when you're growing up, you don't have a sense of self yet. You don't have an identity, and that's the whole part and point of like life and growing, is to be able to flow and have the fluidity between your identity and be able to be one way today, and then fuck it, I'm gonna be this way tomorrow, and no one has to know about that.
Yeah.
No one even deserves to say anything about that. That's for me, right? But when we're now putting that online,
Hmm.
everyone has an opinion on these senses, this sense of identity
Yeah.
that I'm still figuring it out too. And like, we put ourselves in this position to have to over explain and over understand ourselves when even we don't understand yet. You know what I mean? And I think that
Hmm.
it has
Yeah.
the place to be very detrimental. And like, I'm all for these tools. I think that's what they are. They're tools. And I'm blessed to now be in a position where I have the awareness to kind of be able to observe it like that, and have an identity that, I'm comfortable with in both aspects, or at least I'm getting more comfortable with that. But
Hmm.
no, it's definitely something I think about a lot for younger generations. I worry for that because it was at some point, or at one point, the hardest thing for me to ever do is, who am I really? Because all I've ever known is what I've shown other people, but what I've shown other people might have been from a place of like, I just kind of want to be seen. I just kind of want to be heard. I want more love,
Yeah.
right? And you're learning how to love
Hmm.
yourself, but how do you learn to love yourself when all you've ever known as love is what other people wanted of you? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's something I think about a lot. So yeah, I don't know how I
Yeah.
got there, but it's something that ruminates in my mind sometimes. You know what I mean? Just because it's a
For
huge part of what
sure.
I had to grow through, and even still, I shed layers of that, and it really is a journey of becoming more comfortable, I think, just with yourself and acceptance, kind of like
Hmm.
what you were saying. But that's a really, really, really hard thing to do now, when to the point you're now getting paid for that identity that you're still getting to know.
Hmm.
But now I have sponsorships riding
Yeah.
on that, and money riding on that, and my survival riding on that. And what happens if I say no? Am I going to be able to survive?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like this whole
Hmm.
like, it's like a mental breakdown. It's like a fucking mental
Yeah.
breakdown.
It
And
is. It's such a
yeah, you're,
machine that's getting
yeah,
so out of control. And yeah, yeah, to your point earlier too, like we forget, I sometimes even for myself forget that I'm multidimensional. So yeah, I'm
yeah,
not just
yeah,
like
great word.
this one version of me. I've had the past versions, I have the future version and all of that, and it can get messy. So yeah, if you have some sort of online presence and maybe one day to your point you're like not feeling that, or a different side of you comes out and people have
Yeah,
shit to say about it.
yeah.
It's so messy. It's so crazy and you can't explore those different sides, and it's no one
Not
should
without
have that,
some
especially if
grace.
you're so young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can explore those sides, but do you have the strength of who you know yourself to be yet, right? Because we're so young doing these things that like, that it's not going to affect you when you do go to change, right? Like, for example,
Yeah.
when I decided to take my first break off of social media, which was, I must have been like 22 at the time, and I'd been on social media since I was 13. Okay, like,
Yeah.
take that into consideration. But when I took that first break, and it was like, let's just say it was like a year, when I came back to have lost, right, over 100,000 followers because I took the time that I needed for myself, it was
Hmm.
devastating, right? Because all my
Yeah.
identity was who I was online. At that point, I hadn't taken the time to like understand who I was outside of that stuff. Like, cool, I can do that. That's true. Yeah, like that's me. But like, who am I when I
Hmm.
put the phone down? What do I like? Maybe I have more hobbies outside of just dancing. Maybe I
Yeah.
want to take time to explore photography, but I don't want to do it online. I just need some time, right? But now when I'm trying
Hmm.
to have grace for myself, here's 100,000 people that I just lost. And what does that say about me too? and you're still trying to get comfortable with loving yourself, but damn, I didn't know loving myself meant, oh, now I don't have 100,000 people. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Dude, it's so crazy. It's so crazy
It
to be so
is.
young and have to think about those things because, like, these are just all such new concepts. We don't have
Yeah.
evidence backing up what that's doing to us mentally, Like, our brain is still
Mhm.
developing until we're like fucking 18 at least. So if I was
Yeah.
already getting the validation when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,
Mm.
and building myself out of that, like, what is that really doing? And it is a tough place. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. And I'm just happy to have at least grown through that enough to where when these things maybe do start becoming um, topics of conversation more, or there are younger kids struggling with that, I'm happy to at least have an audience now where if they struggle with it, like, I can be there for them because I've taken enough
Yeah.
time to be able to speak on it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't go to my parents and be like, Mom, what does this mean? Like, she doesn't fucking know. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know what I'm saying? No one,
That's what I
no one
was
knows.
thinking.
No
Yeah,
one
like you didn't
knows.
have anyone there who had been through those
No.
experiences to help guide you or help
Heck
navigate
no.
you, and that's so hard because you were on the cutting edge of it. I mean, it
You know what
sucks
I'm
to be
saying?
a leader.
The cutting edge of it is that's exactly it. Like, this is some brand new worldwide humanitarian shit we're all going through right now, but we have no evidence of what it's doing. We just know that it's cool. We just know that we can make money from it. Like, I can be the brand, and I love that because I don't have to go to a 9 to 5 now. But at the cost of
Yeah.
what? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah, I think about that quite a bit.
It's crazy. Well, Shireen, I guess for the listeners too, you've talked about it a little bit, but you were a dancer. That was your career for a long time. That was your identity and everything. But
Yeah.
I guess could you tell everyone maybe a little bit about that journey or just a little bit about how you got there?
Yeah, totally. This is so fun, by the way. I love it. This is so cute. It's even cuter that we're family. I love that. Um,
I know.
yeah, I mean, yeah, if I'm being like 100% candid with how I got there, I mean, for me, I think I was a pretty lonely kid, in all honesty. Single parent, didn't
Yeah.
have like a lot of people around. I did have my siblings, but when they went off to college, man, like, I was just so lonely. So dancing for me was
Yeah.
something that I came across as like, I can express myself and my feelings that, like, maybe I can't talk about, right? Because I wasn't really good at talking. It was more so I was very
Hmm.
inside myself due to that lonely feeling. And dancing for me, man, that was the shit. That was the key to,
Yeah.
like, I think if it weren't for dancing,
Yeah.
I honestly think I would have been a much more sad kid than what I think I felt. And so I just
Mm-hmm.
started doing it, practicing it every single day. Like, if no one was around, I'm just going to go take this walk and I'm just going to go dance in this cul-de-sac in freaking Lima, Ohio. And there's no houses around. I'm in the woods. Like, it was a great time
Mm-hmm.
for me to get to explore myself in a way that was new, and I don't think anything is morbid per se, but I think there's a beauty in, like, a lot of the things that we deem less worthy, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
understanding of ourselves that happen in that time, or at least we can
Mm-hmm.
grow to a point to reflect on that time and realize what it did for us. So I started doing dancing when I was about 12, where I was really into it, 13 really into it, 14. And right around those times when I was still getting to know myself and my identity through dance was when I started posting my YouTube videos of myself dancing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And getting the feedback for me, again, as a lonely kid, my dad wasn't really around a lot. My mom was always at work and there was no one around. Like, that became, I don't want to say people online became my family, but damn, it made me feel so good to be seen like
Yeah.
that. Like, people were talking about how good I was, and I didn't know how good I was. I was just
Mhm.
doing it, you know what I'm saying? And so that
Yeah.
just started to become something I did. So dancing started as like this therapeutic thing for me, and I brought it online, and people resonated with what I was doing and how I was. And that just continued to, I think, I don't know if culminate is the right word I'm looking for, but that just that just started to grow, and it became,
Mm-hmm.
not only am I dancing and making these videos, but now I'm talking to people about my experiences, and wow, my audience is growing when I'm talking about my experiences. Like, this is really crazy. And those two just started to blend into a community, unintentionally. I had no idea what I was doing. I
Yeah.
couldn't search how to market yourself as I wasn't doing that shit. I was just, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's a huge part of like the craziness of these times too. But yeah,
Yeah.
so Chris Brown was a huge inspiration for me to do that. So in high school, I got a really close friend. He's still one of my best friends to this day. He loved to record. So we'd create these concepts together. I was like, I want to go explore this place we've never been and let's make a storyline out of it. And so I would make dance
Cool.
storylines where it was like this, it was like music videos. Like, I always saw myself as like,
Yeah.
after that at that point anyways, like, I want to be a star, I want to do this, like the what I saw on MTV, I want to
Mm-hmm.
do that. So I was like, how can we do this but it's just us two? And I kept doing that, and then literally I hate to say one thing just happened after another, but because I was just so steadfast in like, this is just what I do, this is just who I am right now, and I didn't think about anything else, it just worked out. Vine came around,
Yeah.
I danced on Vine and blew up what seems like overnight, but it was really like, I had already been dancing now for like 7 years, you know what I'm saying? But I remember
Yeah.
waking up and then I had 15,000 followers. And then I put out a YouTube video like some months later, and then I got like 100,000 followers after I put out that video. And like, I shit you not, it was at such a time in social media where it was like every time I refreshed, it'd be like 150 new followers, 500 new followers. The next day,
Crazy.
2,000 new followers. And like, I'm fucking 16, 17, when this is happening. And,
Yeah.
then it became like, holy shit, this is cool. I got to maintain this. I'm saying,
Right. I have to keep up with this now.
had to keep
Yeah.
up with it. And I didn't see it as that when I was that age, because it was just so cool. I was in high school. I didn't have bills to pay. I didn't have shit to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm just doing
Yeah.
this. But yeah, I think the pressure of keeping up with that was something that eventually, right? Because now we're tying into like who you are when you're a little kid and the needs that were or were not met. That's when that started to, I think, start coming up more for me than what I realized. I kept finding myself,
Mm.
while also being on social media, in relationships that were not good at all. And what was I don't know what
Yeah.
I was trying to do at that time, but getting love, I think, was a huge part of that. Like, I just want someone to see me for who I am, because I don't know who I am yet. But I know all these people are here, and the
Mm-hmm.
pressure of keeping up. So I'm just going to keep doing that while I'm also looking for a piece of myself. But I don't think I had the vocabulary to realize or recognize what that was at the time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think
Yeah.
after a while, at that point, I had like, let's say, I think 280,000 followers on Instagram. Fucking Musically, which is now TikTok, I was already at
Yeah.
500,000 on that before it was even a thing.
Crazy.
All the meanwhile, here's this girl who's starting to become a woman, and she still has these things from when she was a kid that like no one's taken the time to explore in her. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Mm-hmm.
eventually the truth always comes to light. And I think it's
Yeah.
so important to, just because we have these platforms to grow and start a business off of, which is fucking fantastic. I love it. I do think there's an aspect though that we need to have some more grace and nurturing for, because again, to the point we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about earlier, where now we're the business, we also have to understand that we have a human side too that really needs some tending to before we're able to operate as the business. And I think as a
Yep.
young woman, I had no idea. I had no idea about any of this stuff, right? This is all like a very within the past decade journey for me. So like,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't separate the business side of myself with like, I'm sad and I don't know what this
Yeah.
is, but I need it to be seen because it's eating away at me. And at night I feel depressed, and you know what I'm saying? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the points we were talking about earlier a little bit. But moral of the story, yeah, that was how I got started online. And then yeah,
Yeah.
once I started allowing myself the time and the space to just have strong growing pains. I wasn't really sharing this with my audience at the time because I was starting to learn boundaries for the first time in my life too. It's
Yeah.
and it's something you have to have the discernment to know what people should have access to and what they shouldn't. And that was the
Yeah.
first time where I was really realizing that, because everything about my life had been online. My relationships, my breakups, my drama, and it's
Yeah.
all public. It's all public, baby. You know what I'm saying? And I think I felt a lot
Yeah.
of when I took the time to stop and pause and reflect on why maybe I'd been in situations, or why I'm feeling the ways I was feeling. There was a lot of shame that was accompanied in those feelings as well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I say that from a place of love completely. I think these are very natural feelings. It's just
Yes.
we don't see people talking about them. Maybe now we do. But then you didn't see, especially young creators, like, no, hell no, people aren't
Yeah.
talking about
No,
this. So
not at
I felt
all.
super, super lonely. So the irony of it was, this thing that I used to not feel lonely started to make me feel worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Crazy place to be. It's such a fucking conundrum. But
it is. That is crazy. Well, no, and like Shireen, I mean, I want to say like I everyone as a teenager is going through these conflicting emotions. And I mean, I can't imagine trying to learn boundaries and like you're making money, you're getting these followers, you're getting this attention, you're getting these opportunities to do these things. But I know it all stemmed from a passion and just something you love. But
yes.
I feel like when you're talking about it too, it's like, it's almost, I'm hearing like this pressure on yourself. Like, I should have known better. Like, why wasn't I working through those things at the time? But it's like, oh my God, when I was 17, I was the farthest thing from that shit too. Like I
No,
did not start doing
definitely.
that till 27, 10 years later.
Definitely.
So like
No,
I
for
don't
sure.
know.
That's a great reminder for sure. And I think now you're right. Like, I might talk about it in a way where it's like, damn, I didn't know better. I totally, totally now have grace for those parts. And it's still something I'm learning more, like,
Yeah.
myself. These are things I'm talking about in therapy now as like a
Yeah.
fucking almost 30-year-old.
Yeah.
So how the fuck am I supposed to know? I don't know. But
Yeah.
I think, it's still the integration of all the parts of who we are, right? Having grace for those times I was 17, 16, I fucking didn't know. And damn, she was fucking dope to have done that. Like, good for you, because
Yeah.
now I'm in a position where I'm getting to know myself so much so, in fact, that I'm able to create something that is so rooted in like a certainty. It's not rooted
Hmm.
in um shame. It's not rooted
Yeah.
in pain. It's rooted in awareness. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I'm sitting here every day thanking my younger self for doing what she did, because I'm
Yep.
like, thanks for giving me a platform, shorty. This is so much easier. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you
For
so much.
real. For
Yeah, so
real.
there's a lot of love, and it's just about accepting and loving all the parts. And we're
Yeah.
humans, we feed on a pack mentality almost. Like, it's hard, no matter who you are, to deviate from the pack and just accept who you are when the world is telling you no or whatever. Like, that's such a natural part
Hmm.
of our biology. So like, whether it was me or someone else, I think these things would still be challenging. You know what I'm saying? To just
Yeah.
accept yourself despite what other people have to say. It's just
Yeah.
it's always gonna be a thing. So I think I'm 100 million times more aware than I was even back then. But I went on 35. There might be bouts of like, damn, this person said that. That kind of hurt, but like, it's
For
okay. You know what
sure.
I mean? Yeah, you kind of just got to keep parenting yourself and showing up and doing the best you can, really.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. There are
Yeah.
so many times too. I don't know if maybe it is turning 30 and having that awareness or like love and understanding for yourself. But now I'm like, oh my God, I don't know, I was so much more adventurous or like willing just to jump
Yeah.
into things when I was
Yeah.
younger. And I'm trying to like find that spirit in me again. And it's like so fun. But I too like look back at her and I'm like, fuck, she was so cool and had no idea. Like,
For
damn, where is she
sure.
now? I'm finding her,
No.
but wow.
But there's so much, not, you're so naive, and I think that's a huge part. It's being a kid, right? Kids are
Yes,
so
yeah,
much more resilient because they're not thinking about there's less to there's less ramifications for if you do something.
yeah.
Okay. I think that's a huge part of it, right? Because, like, I think about that for myself too. And it could be closer to the 30 thing. You're probably spot on with that. But I mean, I'm like, I was so naive and I had such a passion to just not, I didn't give a
fuck? But
Yeah.
I didn't have anything riding on that feeling either. Like again, I
Yes.
didn't have the bills to pay. I didn't have to survive on my own. I you know what I'm saying? I'm living under my mom's roof. We got food at
Mm-hmm.
night. She's buying my clothes still. Like all is
Yeah.
well. Like fuck it. And you don't think about those things, but I think as you get to be more of an adult and obviously learning the other aspects of like nurturing yourself and compassion and kindness and growing through your trauma and analyzing these things and what do I really want out of life, you start to see that there is a tier effect of your actions, whether good or
Yeah.
bad. And I think you just kind of come at that perspective a little bit more attentively and with a little bit more care than maybe what the earlier, while still very dope parts of you wouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? It's an
Yeah.
interesting thing. Yeah, no, I get it. Like,
It is. And then I'm like wondering the flip side of it now, where I mean, I think about this often where adults now, we don't really have a lot of room to always not grow, but try new things because
yeah,
so much of our life is set up where like it's just things that we've built. So we're kind of naturally good at it already, or like, we figured it out in a way. So giving us the opportunities or finding those opportunities to just be like, I'm going to try painting and I can be
yeah,
so fucking bad at it, but I'm going to keep doing it for me because it's fun
yeah.
and like who cares? Like releasing those expectations too. I feel like as an adult is something I tried to do, but damn, it's so hard. But
No,
that's
definitely.
kind of I feel
Well,
like the other side of the coin that you're talking about.
it's super interesting because I'm wondering for you too, like how much of like releasing the expectations is also tied up in like I don't know, like for example, like when you say you want to maybe paint, are you at all thinking about it as like this is something I could do long term, or it's just simply like a little passion I want to get into? Because I do think again, too, it seems to be the common theme of the conversation. Like when we are talking about being able to be the brand, there's so many things you could do to be the brand now. And so like
Yeah.
is am I really trying to do it in this way or am I trying to just explore it a little bit? And do I want to share this with the masses? Because if I did, then this and this. And so I'm wondering for you
Hmm.
if any of those thoughts kind of tie into your willingness or the lack thereof to do those things that you set out to do.
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like I always I have high expectations like for
For sure.
everything in my life. And I
That's
like
good. That's
want
good
it
though.
to be really good and I want it like all of that. So even if it is just something like I'm having some friends over on Thursday to do a little craft night and I want to go to Michael's and get the best beads and like I want to go and like
The
make sure
best
that
of the
my
best of the
necklace
best.
is so cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. I don't know. I think that's some of it. But yeah, to your point too, there are things where now I'm like, oh, like people, they're having fun doing this and they make some money off of it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, could I?
Why not?
And,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there's like that's a part of like maybe longer term my mindset. But even with small things too, I'm just like, no, I want it to be good. I want it to be like the best. I want it
Yeah,
to be like
no.
have these high expectations.
Totally. I do think that's a really beautiful attribute. It can be to your detriment if you're not aware of it
Yeah.
and your tendencies for sure, but like I think I'm coming to find a lot of people don't have the audacity to even want to succeed in such a way when it comes to picking out the fucking beads. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. I'll get whatever beads. But you're like, no, I want these to be the best beads because it says something about who you are and your approach in life, I think. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it shows you how good you could be at anything you do because everything you want to be the best at. Like that to me screams entrepreneur a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
do, I'm going to make sure it's embodied. Like I don't just think about things and that's it. Like I really am intentional about these decisions that I make and I want these to be as good as they can be. Why would you not? You know what I'm saying? So I do think
Yeah.
that's a really beautiful thing for sure.
To your point, though, it can be my detriment, and then I
Yeah, right.
but,
Right.
that's life. We all have our flaws, or we all have our things we can work through, so
No,
that's, always
definitely.
top of mind.
Definitely. Yeah, and back to the conversation of having grace. Like I find when you're a perfectionist, there's got to be an even greater amount of grace in order to just keep going because it's not perfect. I think that's something I'm
Yeah.
actively learning while trying to build a business. I'm like, okay, all these things that used to stop me, if I want to get over here where I intend on myself to get, I cannot be what got me here. the
Yeah.
perfection side of me, it's not going to work
Mhm.
anymore. We just need to learn how to throw things out and do as good as we can. That's it. We're stopping. Put a date on that bitch, and we're flying. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then if it doesn't work out down the line, we'll improvise when we get there. But we don't have the time anymore to just sit here and try to be so perfect. Like, it doesn't work. It
Yes.
doesn't help us get further.
Yes. Oh my God. I go through the same thing in my head all the time. And it's so true. What I'm kind of saying to myself in those moments is like, I trust future Audrey to like figure it out then.
That's
Like, I'll
fire.
do what I can do now. And I
Yeah.
trust her to
Yes.
figure it out when I get to that roadblock. Because
Absolutely.
I don't know, for me, I also was wondering too, like, do I not am I like lacking the confidence? Is that why I'm over like compensating or like trying to overdo
Yeah.
things now or be so perfect or, you know, what
Yeah.
I deem to be that? And then
Yeah.
it's just like, no, you got to let it go. And like future, if
Yeah.
you trust her enough, she'll figure it out.
No, that's a really beautiful point of awareness. Like, even the idea of realizing maybe I'm just lacking the confidence in this area, which is why I keep trying to perfect things. Maybe maybe like my idea of how I'm going to be loved is by overperforming and being the best. And if I'm not the best, what happens if
Hmm.
I'm not the best? And I do think there's a lot of
Yeah,
survival mentality that goes into that, totally. But the fact that you're even aware of it, I think, is the most important part in order for you to start getting to that next step.
hmm
I can totally relate.
hmm
I think I try to over succeed because that's the way that, like, that's how I got people's attention. Even down to my
yeah,
parents or my dad. Bless his heart, he did the best he could. I'm totally
yeah,
aware of that. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
like, the amount that I wanted this man's approval, not only because he wasn't actively a participant in my life, like physically, but he
Hmm.
never like, damn, Shereen, you did such a good job. I'm so proud of you. It
Yeah,
was never that. So you got to think about those aspects of what you don't hear growing up affect what you then go on to do and how you do it, because of those little moments that are really huge. You're still waiting for your dad to say, you did a great fucking job. You know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? There's a lot of that ties into that. And then you also have to have the awareness of, like, by the time maybe they come around and tell you, I love this, you're doing awesome, keep doing that. I'm like, well, now I don't want to just keep doing this because you're telling me it's good. Like, now I need to
Hmm.
increase my own sense of self. So yeah, there's so much
Yeah,
that goes into that thought process for sure.
yeah. Well, if you're anything like me, if someone tells me like a compliment, and if I think it's if I'm not fully on board or if I don't believe it, I'm like, you know, fucking nothing. Like, why would I believe you? And then I want to do the opposite too. Like, if I'm doing really well at it, I'm like, well, like, what if I do it like really bad next time or, you
Yeah,
know, whatever.
no, for
So
sure.
I have that in my DNA too.
Yo, and maybe it's in our family. So what's going
Yeah.
on? Are we all
It
like
might
this? You know what
be.
I'm saying? No,
It
totally,
might be.
totally. I mean, no,
What?
I think all in all, though, it seems to me like you are at the exact point of awareness that you need to be in order to keep like having so many blessings come into your life. Like, you're looking at every angle that you possibly could. You're doing the most you can do right now to make sure that you're serving yourself. And like you were saying, you trust future Audrey. So all you need to do is trust present Audrey to do what she needs to do, which I think you're doing that for sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. That was
Of
really
course.
sweet. And
Of
I
course.
don't say that enough or hear that enough. So I appreciate that.
Totally get that. I totally get that. I'll be sending you DMs here and there like, "Hey, you're doing a
Oh
good
my
job."
God. No. Oh my God. You're too much. You're too much. Well, you'll get it right back from me too.
No.
So
Well,
I
we need to
got
hear
you.
these
We're in
things
this pack
more.
together now.
It's so important, right? And I think that
Yeah.
it goes into a conversation of just making sure you surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do, or aspire to, and they have the same drive or similar values, at least, because we
Yeah.
don't hear these things enough, especially when you're playing a different game than what anyone you've ever seen has played. You know what
For
I'm saying?
sure.
Like, these are uncharted territories for you or your lineage for that matter. So, like, there's not a lot of evidence backing up how I should do this. There's not a lot of people knowing what I'm feeling. I need to
Yeah.
hear that I'm doing a good job a lot more, or I feel like I want to quit, but I can't quit because
Yeah.
I got to do it. So many feelings tied into that. So I totally
For
understand needing
sure.
that. Like, someone telling you that they're proud of you, especially if they're in a position of like, damn, I really inspire to be like that person, or that person moves me. Like, that will take you from fucking point A to point D sometimes. You know, like, the person giving the compliment sometimes doesn't know they're literally the reason you maybe got up today to do
Yeah,
this again. Like, and it's so important to just be kind and, share
for
that when you feel
sure.
it. So,
For sure. Yeah, building up that community, even if it's with strangers, like being so,
true.
I think I saw something too, like the way you interact with strangers says way more about you than maybe how you
Yeah.
treat like your friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Just being kind, having that grace. You have no idea what anyone's going through at any given point in time. So even like your friends or family don't always know what you're going through, loved ones. So no matter what, have to just be there for your people, send them those
Yeah.
love letters, like
Yes.
be
Yeah.
kind and build up that community for yourself
No,
and then for
definitely.
others.
Definitely. I do not take that lightly at all because I've seen the impact it has had on me when people do have at least a little bit of awareness to do it or to say something to me. Like, even sometimes my audience members, this was happening earlier this week. I had a couple people DM me who had been followers of me for a long time. And they were just like, hey, I was thinking about you, just sending you some love. I have
Oh,
got at that
wow.
point, I have to take the time out and like, I'll send them an audio message back, right? And a lot of times people aren't expecting me to respond, but like, I'm gonna give you what you give to me 100% of
Yeah.
the time. Like, I'm gonna let you know right now, this just changed my day. Like, thank you so much. And
Yes.
then the funniest part is they'll be like, I wasn't expecting this at all. I like, and they're so moved, and I'm like, no, but you have to understand, just because of what you perceive of me, like, you have the ability to change people's fucking life just because of who you are too. The
Yeah.
numbers don't mean anything. Like, I needed to hear what you had to say, so thank you so much for taking the time. And they'll be like,
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time. And then it
Yeah.
becomes this
It's this whole
this
circle. It's
beautiful.
so, yeah. It's so true
Yeah.
though. We're all human. Like no matter what your perception of other people are, good, bad, in between, like whatever. We are all human. We all crave that attention. We all crave so much of that community for each other and one another. And yeah, I love that a DM, like how much that means to
It
anyone,
does.
and
It does.
it's so kind. So that's
Yeah, no,
incredible.
I've been trying, like, whenever and I take it as like an intuitive approach, right? If someone just
Yeah.
crosses your mind, send a little message. Hey, was thinking about you. Don't know why,
Yes.
but I hope you have an amazing day today. Sending you so much love. It's something I try to implement in my life too, because we really have no idea outside of our own selves what people are going through. We expect
Yeah.
people tell us what they're going through, but that's just not the way it works. So like, yeah, go out on a limb.
Yeah.
If you think about someone, send the message. If you see a random stranger and they're wearing a dope outfit, tell them. If you think they're
Yeah.
beautiful, tell them. Like, we can't
Yeah.
read minds, and we go along this fucking journey of life thinking we're the only ones, or I feel so lonely. And it's just like, but there's so many times that other people think things, they just don't say it. So like, just say it. It goes a really
Mhm.
long way for sure.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, so you mentioned kind of what you were getting into these days. I guess I see from your posts online, you are such a creative, you're such an artist, you are all
No.
over the place. But like,
Thank
can you tell us what you're doing and like catch us
Yeah,
up?
so I've been behind the scenes building a business, something huge for me. And I was talking to a friend about this
Wow.
yesterday. It's like, we're, I know I'm a great artist. And I'm not saying that from a place of like, I'm the best. It's more like, I know how to be an artist. I've been being an
Yeah.
artist for the past 15 years. It works. I know how to grow the audience with my artistry. I know how to do that. What I don't know how to do is build a business. And I think
Mm,
that's the other side that I've wanted for so long. I've only entertained, but financially, what I've given, I have not received in a way that's enough for me to sustain myself. So for the
yeah.
past few years, that's something I've been really, really diving into. And wow, it's so funny how things come full circle when we're talking, you know what I'm saying? But that has been such a foundation for me of building up my self-worth, my discipline. Who do I need to be today in order to make sure these things happen tomorrow? Like, and that's what every single day for me lately has been like for the past few years. So I'm really building a true business this time. It's not just a brand
Oh,
image. No, I want
good.
to build a business. I make music, I dance, I know how to shoot videos and photos and all these things. How do we
Mm-hmm.
create a hub that allows for it to not only give back to other people, but it gives back to me? So like, every time I'm giving, I don't feel exhausted because there's not
Yeah.
much in return for me. And figuring that out has literally taken the whole time I've been on social media. I've been like, how do I do this? I never knew. I'm starting to finally understand that. So yes, I'm really excited about it. It's separate from my name in the sense where I'm creating something where it's the reminder I've always needed as an artist, and what I hope that it does is it serves as the reminder for other artists. And through that, it will allow for me to do my dancing. It will allow for me to make my music. It will allow for me to be who I want to be or who I've always been. But this time in a
Mhm.
way where I get a little bit of that exchange too. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
won't share
good.
more, but just know I'm building something right now where I'm hoping that, at least the people who have been on this journey with me for a good amount of time, like they see the value in it. I've been trying my hardest to embody all my values in a very conscious way, what I stand for, what effect do I want to have out in the world, and what does that look like? I've been thinking about these things so intently because it's kind of like, oh, I'm building a business. I don't want to get stuck in just this lane. So it's like, how do I make this the most me, but also in a structured enough way? I've been
Yeah.
trying to figure out the ins and outs of that for quite some time. And I'm getting closer to sharing little tidbits with my audience. And I'm excited to just see where it goes and where it grows. And again, like you were saying, it's a day by day thing. I trust future
Yeah.
Shereen to handle it when we get there. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But I'm doing what I need to do today. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's
for sure.
exciting and that's great. Yeah, building something for yourself and future creators and artists too. With your experience and your expertise, I think that's really special. And obviously, you're doing it very intentionally. You are being very just yeah, careful with everything that you do around it
Yeah.
and those decisions that you make, and I think that that will yield so much. So that's
Some
exciting. I can't wait
result,
to stay
right?
tuned.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I will keep you in the loop when it comes to launching and sharing stuff.
Well, Shereen, I'm curious. I ask everyone, what
Cool.
is your dream world? It can be like your head's in the clouds. What are you daydreaming about? Or like day to day, if you're like, if I was running the shit, I'd make sure we have X, Y, and Z.
That's a really interesting question.
You can get creative with it. People could maybe have purple hair and that's the norm, or there could be, I don't know,
So is this
anything
based
like
off of looks? Is this based off of feeling? Is it the
whatever you want
embodiment?
to do. So
Shit.
I know some people for okay, example for me. I have been having the hardest time figuring out what I'm craving lately, like food-wise or what sounds good. So in
Yeah.
one of my past dream worlds, I was like, I just want a food cravings detector and then it will make that food for me too or like bring it to me. So like I don't know, dream world,
So
it could
this
be
doesn't have
something
to
like
be any
that.
like
Oh,
this isn't
yeah.
like a presidential like if I were to change the world, this is what it would be. This could
If
be
you wanna take it that
minuscule.
way, you can, or you can have,
Okay.
like, 2 dream worlds where there's one where it's, like, world peace side and then the fun side, it's however
Sure.
you wanna take it.
Oh man. Okay. I'm just gonna shoot whatever's coming to my brain right now. If I had my dream world, it would be a little bit more seamless for us to connect to our multi-dimensional realities, to take it not so much paranormal but spiritual. Like I can interact with different dimensions of time and space and have access more readily to people who have
Ooh.
passed away, or just different entities of beingness, or different galaxies, like a little interdimensional traveling going on there where like we're all just here rocking this shit. It's not taboo, it's not invisible, right? Because some of these concepts for
Mhm.
some people still don't exist. If we could just see a little bit more of that and interact with it, I think we would be able to evolve more as a species, beyond what we physically see, because we have access to
Yeah.
higher, frequencies, higher beings,
Mhm.
higher thoughts, and feelings. And I think maybe that would play a role in my dream world, because I think people wait to see the evidence before they act a lot of the time. And I think if we could just see it a little bit more and feel it, and know that that's true, we'd probably be on our way to like doing some really fucking amazing stuff.
For sure. Or be
Yeah.
more, like, accepting of each other, loving of one another, and, like, because you,
Yes.
know all of that, and I oh my god, that would be so cool. I
You know
agree.
what
I
I'm
would
saying?
love to, like, talk to Grandma Connie or be like, "Guides, spirit guides, like, what do you actually
Exactly.
mean? Tell me."
Exactly. Like, could you fucking imagine the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge? It's not only ours that we are building here as humans, it's like the people have passed away. Where y'all been? What's going on over there?
Mhm.
Tell me about. I want to know.
Yeah.
And I think we do have the access to tap into these states of being a little bit like through meditation or mediums or whatever. But like, could you fucking
Mhm.
imagine sitting down with Grandma Connie right now? Where you
Oh
been,
my
girl?
god.
What's been up?
Give me the applesauce recipe. I'm dying for
You
it.
didn't leave the applesauce recipe. I need to know. Like, I think we would just be so much. We'd be better off that way.
Yeah. Wait, I'm so curious. I love going to psychics. I've never been
Oh,
to a
cool!
medium, but like I
Wow,
want to do
amazing,
that.
amazing.
Um, do you like are you very into that? Do you love it? Like
My beliefs are definitely far and wide. I'm usually the person who's observing people talking about their beliefs because I find people to be very limited. And I think that the concept of what exists as God is so large, in fact, that we as humans couldn't even possibly perceive a fraction. It's equivalent
hmm,
to me as the fact that we can only see 1% of the available light spectrum. So, what
yeah.
exists in the other 99% exactly? You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I think it's
Yeah.
similar. We only see 1%. Everything that we see, think, feel is 1%. So, what the fuck is
Yeah. There's so much more. We think we
There's
know it
so
all.
much
We
more
are wrong.
information. So I do think mediums come from the aspect, or psychics come from the aspect of being able to maybe because we're all energetic, I think that their receptors are a little bit more in tune, and they are able to access beyond that 1%. They can feel beyond the 1%. The sixth sense, more or less, is more in tune than most, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's where mediums and psychics come into play for sure. Funny
Mhm.
enough, my partner and I actually just went to one out. I don't know if you've ever heard of Tyler Henry. um
Yes.
yeah, hell
Obsessed
yeah.
with him.
We
Obsessed with
just went to
him.
a live show, okay? It was fucking amazing.
Cool.
It was so,
Oh
so,
my
so, so
god.
amazing. I was crying like the whole time, so was she. Because, like,
Yeah.
when you feel the impact of just being able to access beyond that 1% of information for a sliver of time, it is
Mhm.
so profoundly impactful to people. It
Oh, I
changes their
bet.
fucking lives.
Yeah. I love that. And it's so true. And yeah, I'm very into it. Literally, when you were saying mediums, Tyler Henry, he's like the one who I would want to see. So maybe one day,
Yeah,
but,
you should. You
so
should.
cool.
He's touring right now, so check and see if maybe he's gonna be near you. He maybe he already was. I don't know, but
Yeah.
no, I've gone to a personal medium myself, and I think it's one of those moments where like we grow up in such a world that's like black and white, or at least when we were growing up, it was very black and white. There might be some more
Mhm.
colors coming in now. Um, it's kind of predicated upon this like you're either special or you're not. You either got it
Yeah.
or you don't.
Mhm.
And I just think it's so much more gray than that. Like these
Yeah.
tools are here for us. I think people are just still stuck in such a black and white. I don't know. And it's just like, come on, man. You really don't know. Like you think you know everything. Like I
Yeah.
would highly, highly 10 out of 10 recommend a medium. Someone who is reputable, because I'm sure there's mediums out there who are playing the system for some money. That's always true,
Yeah.
no matter what it is, no matter what the space. But I was 17 when I went to my first medium. It was through a family friend. She was fucking phenomenal. Like reading
Mm.
things about me that you just couldn't you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And she actually helped open me up to like my own powers, my own abilities. She's like, you really could do this if you wanted to. You don't have to, but you could. Like when you know these
Mhm.
things about yourself, it just validates the other black, white, and gray part that like we don't get the chance to. Some of us are more tapped into the gray than others, though, for sure.
Mhm.
But the fact that you are and you have the curiosity, I think you should explore that 100% because it
Yeah.
it quite honestly it changed how I move through life quite a bit.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I saw the psychic in February, and some of the things I did not give her anything. Like she'd be like, um, this is like coming up. Like, what does that mean? Or whatever. And I'd just be like, mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was something like so spot on and so crazy. And I was like,
Hey,
girl, I
you
love
were
you. I
trying.
call her my psychic. I act like I've been to her a billion
Oh yeah,
times.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. Well, going back to dream worlds too, I guess I'll say it for my dream world this week. I love where you're going. So with it. So I'll maybe say too, if we could
Yeah,
like be more knowing and be more open to that gray area, I
yeah,
think that would be so cool to see like what changes, what's different, like what's the same, because there would be some things that are probably the same. So
yeah.
I think that would be really cool and so fun to like be a part of an experience.
What would be the
But
first thing you would do? If that
oh,
world existed, like if there were questions you had, what do you feel like would be the questions that you ask and want answers to, or who would you want to see? Like, because you right, you'd have access
yeah.
to obviously deeper wells of knowledge than what is here right now, physically. So, what do you think that would
Yeah.
look like for you?
Okay, I definitely like learn the ins and outs. So I think that would be really interesting. I would definitely
Mm,
want to like reconnect with people who have passed on too. I think that would
yeah.
be huge, but I think more than that, I would want to know like who my spirit team around me has been and like if they've changed or
Mm,
like if they're not and like just learning more about that. I think that would be really cool to know.
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, from what I've seen, I think in this space too, like we don't have access to all the information, but we have a good idea. I've come to learn that we have more of an idea than we think we do. And that is a
Mm,
huge part of being able to access deeper information. Like when I'm sitting in a meditation, am I accepting of what's coming up? Or do I question what's coming up? Like, oh, I just saw this building in
yeah.
Chicago or something like that. That's
Hmm.
weird. Huh. Rather than being on that side, it's like, oh, I saw this building in Chicago. I'm gonna write that down. I wonder where that correlates. Or like, if you sit in meditation with yourself, it's so much so a part of our journeys that what comes up is the truth, right? That's the
Hmm.
other part of that 1%. That's the 2, 3, 4%, but we don't believe it. So we're always looking beyond
Hmm.
ourselves for more information when we have it. That's such a big part of that, I think. Just to kind of help
Yeah.
you maybe ease into a little bit more of like, I think you know more than you think you know. You just don't believe that you know it because how could you know it, right? I think that's a part of
Yeah,
that a little bit, for sure. But I
for
think those are
sure.
great
Yeah.
questions.
Well, Shereen, my last question for you today is if there's a small win that you recently had that you want to celebrate or like pat yourself on the back for. So, for instance, me, I have been out of my yoga practice. I've been traveling a
Sure.
lot and haven't been able just to like make the time to go to yoga, or I just have been focusing on other things and not doing that. So, yesterday afternoon, there was a class that was available that had some mats open, and I finally just like did it. I had the
Let's
time, I
go.
went, I felt so good afterwards. It
Yes.
was great, but it was just like a small little thing that I was really proud that
Yeah.
I ended up saying yes to or doing. So, do you have anything like that that you want to celebrate or
I also
share?
love just to say I love that you practice yoga. That's so dope. You're just so cool. I'm not surprised. I think this is just the most we've ever talked for me to get to know you in such a way. I love what you're about
Yeah.
and how you kind of move through life. It's
Oh,
it's
thank
it's it's
you.
very resonant for me. And then for a win for me, I actually said this win out loud to my partner. I'm not really good at asking for help. It's something I'm still practicing actively, especially when it comes to my creations, because so much of my identity for so long was wrapped up in what I do and how I come off and
Hmm.
I gotta do this, you know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
didn't ask for help a lot, but when it's been down to me building this new business for myself, I have some beautiful resources of people around me who are doing great business. And rather than just kind of being timid about it or like protective of what I'm creating, the past week asked so many questions to people who I aspire to be like in
Mm,
terms of how they move in business. And rather than being like, what if they are going to think this of me? Or what if they turn down my ideas? Or what if so many what ifs? Rather than doing that, I was just like, dude, fuck it. Like, I'm here to learn. I need to
yeah.
learn more. I don't know everything. And even if they did say this about my work, so what? You're going to keep going, right? So just go and ask the questions. And I fucking did. And like,
it was so pivotal for me, not only for myself, but like the information I got from them in correlation to what I need to be doing in order to level up was, it was invaluable. And I was really patting
I
myself
bet.
on the back for that, because that's not something I would have done even like a year ago. I swear to God, I'm
Yeah.
very low key, and I think it stopped me from succeeding more because I'm afraid to ask for help sometimes. And you
Mm-hmm.
can't build a fucking empire by yourself. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
ask for help. So I was definitely proud of myself for that.
Yeah, that's huge. It
For
is
sure.
hard to ask for help, especially like if you've had success before. It just being you, it can be hard to say maybe you don't know something or admit
Yeah.
that like you might need that extra hand to get you to the next
Yes.
step or
Yes.
whatnot. So that is huge and a big
Yeah.
congrats. That is
Thank
sincerely, I
you.
think so many people struggle with that. So
Yeah, I mean,
it
you
is
have to be
big.
willing to change, and not
Yeah.
sometimes you have to be willing to change not on your own accord. Like, sometimes other people do need to ruffle your feathers. Sometimes other people do need to kind of make you feel a little, ouch, that kind of hurt, but I needed
Yeah.
that, And I think if we weren't so damn emotional all the times, we would also be progressing a lot more. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was a big moment. I'm excited about it because I was like, damn, if I did that, like, what am I gonna be able to do? Next year I'm about to be fire with the questions.
For sure. For
Yeah,
sure. I love that. Oh, Shereen, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And it was so great, like catching up with you and hearing
yeah,
from you.
yeah, Audrey, this shit was cool. I ain't even gonna lie. I love it. I love what you're doing. I love the questions. I love the cadence. This is so raw and fun.
Yeah.
And it's been
Well, and thanks
awesome
for
getting to
being
know you more.
vulnerable too. So it was great that we
Yeah,
were open and you were able to share some of those things.
of
I
course.
don't take that lightly. So thank you.
No, for sure. Vulnerability gets us very far when you share with the right person and in the right community. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. Definitely.
definitely.
And that's the episode with Shereen. It was so great to just get into things with her, to learn more about her life, but I loved where the conversation took us. We were going everywhere. Things like social media, the impact. It was really great to hear her firsthand experience and knowledge with the struggles, like the pros, the cons, the gray, the everything in between. It was really great to hear that experience because I think, at least with like my friends, the people in my life, we all kind of have this idea of what the impact may be, or, can maybe try to wrap our minds around what that could mean for someone. But having her on with her firsthand experience and really sharing what those highs were like, what those lows were like, everything in between, it's fascinating. And to Shireen's point, I mean, there's so much more that we can do. There's so much, maybe like regulations or just guidelines, whether that's for yourself or if it's community or true legislation on any of this. Um, you have to have that boundary. There's just a lot of opinions that you have to try to funnel, and no matter, I think, how great of a headspace you're in, or no matter what, it can get to you. No matter how good of a day you're having, how good things have been lately or whatnot, you could happen upon something, and I'm sure it hits you, and it makes an impact, whether you want it to or not. So I sincerely love and appreciate all of Shireen's just vulnerability and openness to talk about things and share her experiences, share her philosophies. It's so refreshing and raw to have. So thank you, Shereen. As promised, each episode, I love to share a dream world from someone who wrote in. So if you want to have your dream world on air, write me. You can email me at audreysworld@gmail.com. Or if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, I'll have prompts there where you can write in, and your dream world could be selected to be on an upcoming episode. So this one is from Tim. Tim's dream world, it's a very optimistic world. There's no bullying, no harsh crimes or anything like that. Everyone can just agree to disagree. There's a lot of respect for each other, respect for yourself, and there's small acts of kindness all the time. And there's things like smiling at strangers, just going up to people and chatting it up and learning more from them. And of course, in Tim's world, you can eat all the sugar, ice cream, pizza, all of those things, and it could still be considered healthy. So that is Tim's dream world, which love that dream world. It's one of a lot of kindness, a lot of optimism, and our world doesn't really seem like that right now. So, and that does seem really refreshing, and it seems really nice and a great change of pace. So I agree. That would be a great world for us to be in now. Well, if you are liking the podcast, first of all, thank you. Love that for you. And you can also like, rate, review, subscribe, follow, all of those things wherever you listen. You can, of course, follow me on Instagram or TikTok, all at Audrey's World. And if you just are very curious what the body language may look like during these conversations, or maybe you're just a visual person, you want to see it rather than hear, don't worry, I'll give your little ear holes a break and you can see me. I'll give your eyeballs some more strain. I'm on YouTube, so if you want to see the episodes there, check that out. I got you covered. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you again next Tuesday. Love ya. Bye.